It's not in the face! Thank you.
Hello and welcome to Hey, Not the Face with your host, John Nash, and your producer, me, Steffi Haynes, and it's fight week again. This weekend, we have a big boxing match between Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia. Now, this is going to be a mini-sode, so we're just going to hop right in with the questions. John, I got to know, what's going on with the ticket sales for Haney versus Garcia? Because this particular fight does not seem as big as Garcia's fight with Tank Davis. What's wrong here?
It's hard to call it a big fight because there doesn't seem to be actually much interest for it, even though you'd think there would be, considering who's involved. But yeah, the ticket sales have been atrocious. People on Twitter. Sorry, I got Isla here, kind of interrupting. She's putting that's her tail whacking my mic right there. So it's her world. I'm just living in it. She adopted me, so I'm stuck here with her. But to get back to the story at hand, Haney versus Garcia. Fred Garvin and some other guys on Twitter went over the ticket sales, and they kind of keep you updated. The ticket sales have been atrocious for this event. Now, part of it might be that they set the price way too high. If you look at the ticket, what the price of the tickets were, what the seats per section were, if you added them all together, the estimated amount would be, if everything was sold at the original price, the gate would have been $14 million. So the bad sales might be that there's just not that much interest in this fight. Could also be that Garcia has just been acting loony, which is, I think, it turns a lot of people off because, on one, it just is he mentally there to fight even, and that makes people assume that Haney's going to kick the crap out of him. Is already a favorite, but what chance does Garcia have if he's shouldn't even be fighting? The way his mental state seems. So I think that might also play a part because Haney's at like a negative 800 favorite going into this fight. So I think that's the big part of the tickets. And it's kind of sad because if you would have mentioned this fight to me months ago, I would have been super excited, the possibility based on their background, their amateur career.
Yeah, they have 6 fights already and they have 3 wins apiece.
Yeah, so it's the perfect thing to promote, but it's just there's not, a lot of it's Garcia. He lost to Tank Davis. There's just not a lot of interest in him. Right? I mean, there's interest. He's kind of a star, but there's not a lot of interest, I think, now based on the way he's acting right now. And let's not also forget, DAZN is not really a well-known commodity in America, right? Its marketing reach is not like other networks. And so that could be playing a part too, because you look, DAZN has had a lot of trouble selling major U.S. events compared to like what Showtime used to do. I mean, Showtime, just have to look at last year. Showtime had 320 million plus gates. And DAZN had one, but it was Canelo versus Triple G, which kind of sells itself. And even then, the ticket sales were soft compared to what they originally priced it at.
Would some of the problem be in the venue? And the reason I ask that is because when this was announced, Ryan Garcia immediately tried to go back and move the venue. He wanted it to be in Vegas. What do you think of that?
You know what? I should have brought that up because I do agree with that, because Ryan Garcia is a known California commodity. Haney has been kind of a road warrior, but he is known, he's from Oakland and he's been training out of Vegas for years. So he's much more known on the West Coast. Yeah, I think they probably would have been better luck doing it there. I do not know why it was put in New York. I don't know why. So it's that I should have said that. But yeah, that's also probably another reason why this isn't selling that well. There's just a bunch. It's just not a well thought out card, not a well thought out match, not a particularly it's not greatly promoted, but a lot of that promotional problem I think falls on Garcia. Really, I really question if he should even be fighting.
Bearing that in mind, do you think that Garcia made a mistake choosing to fight Haney instead of Raleigh?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I don't know who's to blame for the Raleigh fight falling through. You know, Garcia blames Raleigh and Raleigh blames Garcia. I could see it going. I mean, there's plenty of reasons I could see it going. I mean, Romero is signed to PBC. I could see them saying, "Hey, listen, we want to use you, against Isaac Cruz, another PBC fighter. Why give you another promotion so they can build their name off you?" Garcia also, though at the same time, I'm kind of surprised considering that Golden Boy's working with Al Heyman to get the Canelo fight, right?
Mm-hmm.
PBC, how he couldn't make a deal on that as well. So I have my theories of what is going on with Golden Boy and Garcia, but I do think it was a massive mistake because Garcia would have a much better chance against Romero. He could win a title, kind of rebound, build up his name again, and that would just make the Haney fight even bigger. But not doing that and moving on to Haney, considering his last performance versus Tank and how good Haney looks, I think people just do not give much of a chance.
Well, his last performance, he actually took a tune-up fight against Duarte.
Yeah, he didn't look great in that.
He didn't. It took him to the 8th round to get the job done against Oscar Duarte. I have to ask you, with his antics, with the loss to Tank Davis, because Tank was his last truly big fight, his one and only really, really big fight, and he lost it. Yes, he's rebounded with a tune-up fight, but here he's got another big name fight in front of him and a competitor that's very likely going to beat him. So my question is, if he gets beat here, what are his opportunities going forward? Can he command another big name fight, or is this pretty much going to be the end of the road for Garcia if he loses?
Yeah, it's hard for me to say. He does not seem like the guy that's willing to go back and kind of build himself back up and take a step back and kind of, and just rack up a bunch of wins and kind of build up his credentials. Because there's been a lot of stories that he's broke, not broke, but he needs money bad, right? That's why he's looking for these big fights, or that he wants to get out of the business and he's looking for a couple big paydays, which is, you can understand why people are not big on him, because if you're just here for the cash grab, no one has faith in you, right? So there's stories of that. So I could kind of see that, because if he loses this fight, the only way to get back is he's got to basically go on a streak of 3, 4, 5 fights of beating people several steps down, build himself back up, but he's not going to get the massive, there's no 8-figure purses or even high 7-figure purse than that. It's back to the low. I mean, he's still an attraction star, but there's a big difference between a low 7 purse and a high 7 purse, and especially between that and an 8-figure purse. So he would have to go back to that. I mean, part of my thinking is that because he fell out with his falling out with Oscar De La Hoya and Golden Boy, that part is not just that he's cashing out. I partly wonder if Golden Boy's cashing out on him.
You said something that you had a theory. I would love for you to expand on that right now.
Well, basically, that's the theory, that Golden Boy's cashing out, that maybe the Romero fight could have been made. But I mean, why would, if Golden Boy's like, we have to quit business with you because you don't want to work with us anymore and there's no future with us, why give you a fight that you could win and just build you up again for you to eventually leave, right? And so they're thinking that instead of working with you to build up your prestige, we are going to make as much money off you against another DAZN fighter right now in Haney. You'll get beat, you'll lose your value, we don't have to deal with you much anymore. But Haney, DAZN will be happy because now we've added a notch to Haney's belt, or a notch to his belt, notch to his sword, whatever the slang is, and he can move on as a bigger star. So on their side, they'd be probably happy to do that. That's my theory. Who knows if it's true? And
you are taking Devin Haney in this, right?
Oh no, Ryan's gonna torch him. No, Haney's gonna.
Yeah.
Haney looked. I mean, Pogre I think is overrated, but Haney looked really. Not only did he look good, he looked really healthy compared to what he did against Kambosos.
Well, the
in fact,
other
he looked
thing,
like what's that?
He's enormous, though. There's such a size disparity in Prograis and him. I wouldn't exactly use the word overrated for Prograis. I would use the phrase more coddled by his promoters more than anything.
Well, I think Pograis's kind of been on a downward slope for a little bit.
Sure.
He's not the fighter he was and going in. But the big point is Haney came in. He looked big, at 135 versus Kambosos.
Yeah.
But he looked even bigger he looked like he was even cutting more weight to get to 140. Like he looks massive now.
Yeah. He's put on a lot of muscle
like you could
and bulk.
really tell how drawn out and tired, how kind of tired he was getting against Kambosos.
Yeah.
Where here it's like he looks just packed. So he looks very, very, very dangerous at 140.
Absolutely. Now, all week long, well, for the past couple of weeks in the lead up to this coming weekend's fight, there's been no shortage of interviews and commentary from other boxers. You lit down on a comment that I also saw, and that was that Shawn Porter says that the monster Inoue has to come to the U.S. to be a true global star. Now, we both think he's wrong, but I would love for our listeners to be able to hear why. So please, sir.
Well, I mean, okay, true. If he has to come to America if he wants to be an American star, right? But this isn't like Otani in Japan, where Otani was a massive star in Japan and he had to go to America to prove himself because American baseball is so much bigger. And also the money in American baseball is so much higher. There is a lot of money in boxing for Otani, I mean, not Otani, but for the monster right now in Japan. So much so that, and there's money that you do not see in America for that weight class.
Right.
Tank Davis had to move up actually, and Tank Davis is a massive star, but he couldn't do it at 126 pounds, 122 pounds. He had to go up to 135 pounds lightweight. So under lightweight, the monster is the biggest star. He's going to be selling out Tokyo Dome. I think they announced it on one of the podcasts on Twitter. They announced the gate is going to be over 20 million. It's already cleared. So it's going to be a $20 million gate. It's got a huge deal with Amazon there. He's going to get a couple million extra, probably from Top Rank and the ESPN deal here. So you are looking at a well over 8-figure a fight guy right now.
That's under 135 pounds, mind you.
Yeah. He's, I mean, just it's unheard of for someone that small.
Yes.
To be making that kind of money.
I like how you situated it, though. You said, sure, he'd have to come over to be a U.S. star, but to be a global star, nah.
Well, also the world of boxing is not quite what it was, right? First, we have tons of sports in America. We have so much stuff going on here. Everything is niche in here, unless you're in one of the major sports. And it's crazy because Otani is this massive sports star in Japan and in America in baseball, but so many people don't follow baseball. I think a lot of people don't even have a clue who he is, right? So that's what's somewhat insane about the fact we don't have the universal sports stars we used to have in America that other countries kind of wrap themselves around. Mm-hmm. But we do know, but here we got a super bantamweight fight coming up with an Inoue, and he's going to make millions more than he could possibly in America. In fact, the truth is for guys at 122, 126 pounds, for this title fight, this weight class coming in, their best bet is actually to go to Japan to make several million.
Yeah.
There's no way that they could make this kind of weight, at 122 pounds. There's no way you'd make this kind of money in America. So they're going to get several million, and he's going to be looking at, I mean, it seems very conceivable that next year, when the Forbes makes their list, as bogus as the list often is, but he will be on that list. He'll be a guy that, he might be at 40 million plus with a couple fights.
And that's fantastic. I love that for him. I love when boxers and MMA fighters can make big bank. They deserve it. All of it.
Yeah, especially, when you put on that kind of entertaining stuff too. Listen, I'm sad a little bit. He doesn't come to America, doesn't fight an American time. Would make it more convenient for me. Because I love watching the guy fight.
Me too.
Live. Yeah. I hate getting up at 4 or 5 in the morning, 3 in the morning, whatever time it is, and being dead tired and watching box. But
welcome to my world of being a Formula One fan.
Well, that's your mistake for watching such a weirdo thing like that.
I assume you're taking the monster in that fight as well.
Oh yeah,
me
definitely,
too.
Definitely. I think he's a world talent, and my hope, very plausible. Top Rank's talked about this. I guess I could see him moving up in weight and fighting Lomachenko in a year from now or so. At some sort of like 130 pounds. I think that's possible. Lomachenko, I think would do it for the money.
What about Gervonta? Do you think that there would ever be a meeting of the minds with Gervonta? I don't actually want to see that. I think it's too far down and too far up, you know?
Yeah, well, I mean, Gervonta technically, he's fighting way too far up as it is. He's a tiny 135 pounder.
Yeah, but he also struggled to make the lower class weights, though. He did it. He weighed in heavy like at least twice that I know of. I want to say 3 times he's had trouble making weight.
Yeah, I would say, but I still think, did he ever have trouble making junior lightweight? That's one I don't remember. I don't remember him. I know against Fonseca he missed weight. Yeah, and that was super featherweight. That was super featherweight, right? That was super. Yeah. Yeah, that because I can't remember what title it was for. It was a title fight, but he missed. That's the only one I really remember. But ever since super lightweight, I think he made no problem at 130 pounds. So could he do that again? It seems like he's the size could, but we're getting kind of ahead of ourselves because
he missed on his first attempt ahead of the bout with Gamboa.
Oh, did he really?
Yep, he sure did. And then he missed the one that you talked about as well. But Gamboa was the one, and he was stripped. So anyways.
Well, you'd think he would be able to make 130 pounds. I mean, 100. Yeah. But I guess for money-wise, there's always a chance that, but that would be several years down the line. I tell you the truth, I get the vibe that Tank is not planning to be around forever. He's not a guy. He seems like he has retirement in mind at some point, sooner than later.
That'd be good.
That's great. I mean, if you're thinking ahead that much, he's going to be at his 30th fight coming up. He's not. I don't think he's Canelo Alvarez, where he wants to be fighting forever. I mean, who knows? But that's the vibe I get.
Yeah. All right. Well, that is going to wrap up this minisode. Once again, you guys know the drill. Please subscribe so we can continue doing our job and bringing you the business side of combat sports. Follow this guy on Twitter. He's at HeyNotTheFace. His direct messages are open. Shoot him a message if you've got a question, a comment, a suggestion. His email is heynottheface@gmail.com. Same thing. I'm Crooklyn MMA on Twitter. My messages are open. Crooklyn949@gmail.com. Same scenario. Anything you share with me, I share with John. On that fine note, from here, y'all know the drill. Until next time, please stay safe.
Ow! Ow! Not the face! Ooh! Okay, the face!